Welcome to Board and Committee Roles and Responsibilities Part 1, presented by CAI's Greater Inland Empire Chapter, located at CAI-GRIE.org. In 1970, approximately 10,000 community associations existed in the United States. Now there are more than 328,000. Nearly 1 out of every 5 Americans, more than 65 million, lives in a community association. As you can see, community associations have become increasingly popular. Between 3,000 and 5,000 new community associations are formed each year. With this growing popularity comes a growing need for volunteers to step up to serve as leaders in their community associations. How many Americans do you think currently serve on a community association board of directors? Do you think it's 60,000? 600,000? A million? 1.65 million? It is estimated that approximately 1.65 million people now serve as board members, and over 500,000 additional residents serve on committees, so you're in good company. Together, board members and committee members provide over 76 million service hours each year. That's a lot of time invested. It only makes sense to be as knowledgeable as possible to make sure you spend your time appropriately, efficiently, and in compliance with all regulations. The success of any enterprise depends on everyone having common expectations. This comes only from understanding the group's purpose and what each individual contributes. This lesson clarifies functions of the board of directors and the roles and responsibilities of each officer. In this lesson, you will learn to identify 4 main functions of community association boards, describe qualities of a strong board member, and understand the duties of care, loyalty, and acting within the scope of your authority. Community associations are unique entities, and so are their boards. If surveyed, the more than 328,000 boards currently in existence in the United States would proffer a wide range of goals and strategies to achieve their goals. All associations, however, have 4 main functions in common. 1, to represent the community association, both as a business and a community. 2, to protect the association's real assets, as well as intangible assets, such as reputation and quality of life. How does the board protect assets, you might ask? Well, by setting appropriate policies, setting standards, establishing procedures, and establishing financial budgets. Additional board functions are number 3, to enforce the governing documents, and finally, to build the social and civic well-being of the community by providing leadership, modeling pride in the community, and demonstrating the meaning of good neighbor. Given the 4 main functions of the board, what qualities comprise a strong board member? CAI leaders list the following characteristics as most important in a recent survey: good character, strong integrity, calm judgment, willingness to serve, committed to the best interest of the community as a whole, relevant experience or background, previous volunteer experience, and strong people skills. The people serving on the board determine the board's success. If a board has members who don't really want to work, who are contentious, or who have their own agenda, they are unlikely to fulfill their powers and duties adequately. Powers are defined as actions that the board can do. Duties are actions that the board must do. For example, the bylaws might state that the board has the power to suspend a homeowner's right to vote or suspend association services for failing to pay their assessment. Board members need to be clear on what their powers are so they can appropriately troubleshoot a situation and not overstep their authority. Board members must also be clear on what their duties are. Duties are generally derived from state corporate law. In California, Community associations are governed by the Davis-Sterling Act, Corporations Code, Vehicle Code, and more depending on the specific situation. As fiduciaries entrusted to act on behalf of others, board members generally have three basic duties: the duty of care, the duty of loyalty, and the duty to act within the scope of their authority. The duty of care, sometimes called the duty of ordinary care, requires each board member to make informed decisions. For example, before fining a homeowner for a rule violation regarding the color of paint, you must be familiar with all relevant passages in the governing documents about paint and the details of the situation. In other words, you cannot levy a fine simply because you personally do not like the color choice. The duty of loyalty requires each board member to act fairly and in good faith for the benefit of the community association, rather than for the benefit of any individual or for personal gain. For example, you cannot help a friend land a service contract with the association. This would be a conflict of interest. The duty of loyalty also requires the protection of confidentiality. If there is any question as to whether a relationship you have is a conflict of interest, disclose it. If it has any appearance of conflict, abstain from voting on matters relating to that relationship. The duty to act within the scope of authority requires board members to know exactly what their powers are. For example, before trying to add rules about paint colors, you must first be certain your community association has the authority to adopt new rules. This knowledge only comes from familiarity with the governing documents as well as relevant state laws. Julia's board is in the process of selecting a new landscape architect. Her sister's husband owns the XYZ landscape business. Julia doesn't exactly endorse the company, but she chooses not to disclose this relationship to the other board members as they discuss the merits of each company. Is she honoring her fiduciary duty? No. By not revealing the relationship with the company, she is violating the duty of loyalty. She has a conflict of interest and should have immediately made it known to the other board members and excused herself from the decision-making process. In this lesson, we discussed the four main functions of community association boards, qualities of a strong board member, the duties of care, loyalty, and acting within the scope of your authority. In the second segment, we will explore liability issues and protection for board members, 3 types of committees and their roles, and how to help committees achieve success. Thank you.